legendary to fortitude. Learning from Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth. Since the birth of a nation, tell me who birthed who. I never been acclimated to servitude. My fervor grew beyond earthly views. Who the newest surveyor proved that my cause greater. A stargazer started off with small paper. Now we spend Benjamins on the watch data. Day chasing the North Star.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Getting Close Up, the show focused on independent artists and creatives. I'm your host, Danielle Cox. Now, the one I have with me today is not a stranger to the set. He's not a stranger to the show. He joined us with all his gems of wisdom in our rappers panel, and he's here to drop some more. He left a king-size mark, and we'll learn more about him today. Today, we are getting close up with King Kihei. Hey there.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm serious about that. You left a king-size mark when you were here last time for our rappers panel.
Thank you, thank you.
I got a lot of great feedback about your advice and even just your personality. Like, everybody did great on there, but like, I got a lot of comments about you too. So
okay, all right.
Thanks for coming back, and
no
this
problem.
time you get to be in a purple chair.
Yep, royalty, you know what I'm saying? I like that. My mama would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to start out with, since you were on our panel show, like I said, we got a lot of great feedback, and you dropped so many gems of wisdom, a lot of great anecdotes. I want to know from you, though, what has been the best piece of advice or best saying that you've gotten from somebody?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Yeah, you're going to have to dig probably a little bit.
Actually, it's funny. I talked to somebody about something that happened in my past, right? Mm-hmm. So these guys I was rocking with, they was real close with Akon's camp. Mm. And the wisdom I got, what Akon said was, it's not who you know, it's what they're willing to do for you.
Expound on that. What did you learn about that?
So, like, in a sense, you know, being young, up and coming, right? And then he wasn't willing to do something for me at the same time. So that kind of, on one end, I was like, man, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of wisdom in that, because it's like, you can know all these people in the world, but what are they going to do for you? You know what I'm saying? You can know your neighbor. Well, your neighbor lend you a cup of sugar. I am your neighbor. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
I am your neighbor.
But, you know, things like that, and you really think about it like that, like, there's a lot of truth to that, because you can know a million people, but if they're not willing to, you know, work with you, do something with you, then, like, man, you know what I mean? So I think that was some very good wisdom in how it was, you know, how it was spoken to.
Yeah.
Like, it really hit on multiple layers.
And that's the thing, multiple layers, because another thing that I think of when I hear that is sometimes when people give you some information but may not be willing to do something for you, sometimes they want to see what you're willing to do for yourself.
That's true.
First. You know, like, they want to sit back and say, okay, I'm giving you this nugget. What are you going to do with it?
Or even see how you respond to that, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people will say something, you know, in a constructive criticism way, and if you're a little sensitive to it, that might be like a filter system. And people don't realize that sometimes. Like, they might say it might hurt your feelings, but if it's the truth, you should accept the truth. You know what I mean? Instead of it hurting your feelings. I think a lot of people's feelings get hurt when they don't accept that aspect of the truth.
Yeah.
But the truth really should be as a tool to help you improve and get better. But if you don't react to that way or respond to that, I can see how that, you know what I mean, could mess you up too. So
your reactions can definitely filter out how people deal with you. And I know I deal with a lot of that myself. Like, sometimes you're not aware because your reaction is like a quick thing.
Yep.
And to touch on the point about criticism, one of the things that kind of got touched on in the panel show that I wanted to bring back today to talk to you about is, and several people said this during the show, that when they were talking about other rappers and they were talking about people trying to step out and be unique, they said that everybody has a particular kind of flow. Mm-hmm. This 3-2-1 flow. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what that means and why that seems to be the case with everybody.
I think it's the rhythm of the music. Yeah, I get the 3-2-1, but I don't necessarily fully agree with that.
Oh, okay.
Because Kansas City has a signature, like 3-2-1 type of flow, but it don't, like, if you go to New York, they have a different type of flow. West Coast has a different flow. Down South has a different type of flow. Mm-hmm. And, like, I think regionally, part of that too is like, it's like if you have a dialect, you speak that dialect of where you from, you could tell where they from. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with that flow. And I think that's kind of part of what they're trying to say to that. But then you got a few that stand out. I know what can't, like, for example, we could talk about Tech Nine.
Right.
Can you say he has a 3-2-1 flow?
No, he changes
cannot.
up.
Yeah, it's
He
so
does
much.
something very specific.
And one thing about him too, I watch like I'll even see the Migos and things like that. Like Tech was doing that back in the day, and you really look at a lot of the
His older
styles.
stuff.
Man, he definitely developed a lot of styles that changed. But I think that's you as an artist, right? You know, and then how can you express whatever you're trying to say in different ways and genres? So you think about rock and roll music, you might think of the same thing. Like think about the '80s hair bands.
Yeah, very much
Every
so.
single
They
one of
have
them.
such a structure.
Yeah.
If you hear the beginning part of the song, you can pretty much kind
No,
of guess
you
where
already-
it's going for the rest of it.
Same thing you could say
Yeah.
even with some spoken word. Some of them have a cadence when they talk, you know, things like that, right?
That part.
Or you could do that with, you know, even you could say reggae. You know, they have.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is the rhythm of it. I think that rhythm is kind of based upon your region. That's what I think about it.
And I think Kansas City is unique. A lot of people want to say that Kansas City isn't unique, especially when they're inside and they're just kind of like, you know, everybody's doing the same thing and this and that. But Kansas City, I feel like because of where it is and because of the way people migrated from different places and came here, that it's more of a mosaic.
I think the Midwest is a mosaic. It's the heartland for a reason. And and you're right on that because, well, it's twofold. Because one, I think the majority of the people here support artists that have a similar sound. But that could be that they like that sound.
They
You
just
know what I
like
mean?
that
There's
sound.
nothing wrong with it. Like if you
Yeah.
go to like Houston, everybody was supporting Swisher House.
Yep.
They had a similar sound. And really one of my favorites from there was Chameleonaire. Because when he came in,
yes.
he did it different to me than the rest of them. Had this
Yeah.
uncanny balance. I was like, that dude, you know what I mean?
He had a certain style about him too that made everybody just latch on to him.
Correct.
Yeah.
Same thing with you know, and Paul Wall. Because Paul Wall
Paul Wall.
has a rhythm to him that's
People
just.
still love Paul Wall.
I love Paul Wall. I like Paul Wall.
Everybody
like,
love Paul Wall.
Paul Wall, but you know what I mean? You just whatever he doing, like yeah, let's you know what I mean?
That accent too is what
But
set
it's
it off.
him.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying regionally. So then you go to Kansas City and you look at the artists, you know, that they're putting up on this, you know, pedestal. They should because
Yeah.
I think they even better than a lot of these other artists around the country. To be honest with you, like if we had a true like Kansas City like versatile world and all these Kansas City artists, bro, they're not. No, you know what I mean? Like, I really wholeheartedly believe they cannot compete with us.
So we done came up on baseball, fell off a little bit, but came up essentially, came up on football, came up on
Soccer.
different events on soccer. What's stopping hip hop artists
What's stopping hip hop artists is
from being the next
think-
come up in Kansas City? Like
I think
really,
really
hitting?
honestly is just the collective collaboration. I would say like Kansas City Hip Hop Week. Shout out to Miss No Mills
Shout
and
out,
Talentia,
they
right?
were busy.
Doing that helps. I think that helps big time because it helps with the collaboration, helps with the networking. I was blessed to be a part of that. That was
Yeah, you
that was
were,
amazing. Hey, that was an amazing. That whole week was amazing, and watching all these other artists get highlighted and showcased
Exactly.
to that level, right? Part of that is that, and then the business acumen that comes with it, right?
Yeah, there was business panels and talking a lot
And
about
showing
that.
them that, like we
Yeah.
have people here to Grammy Award, you know,
Absolutely.
people like, I mean, man, there is a lot of people here that have reached these other.
People's music that made it into big movies.
Yeah, and it's like, but here's the thing though, did that happen here?
Yeah.
A lot of it happened somewhere else, or somewhere else is like, hey man, and then when they realize that they have a different infrastructure already in place, they have different resources in place that can help amplify that. I think we need better amplifiers.
Better amplifiers. And
That's
you
it.
have an interesting perspective because you grew up amongst two very different places.
Yeah. Yeah.
So between Hawaii, between South Central LA, between, you know, those different atmospheres and then being in Kansas City, how much of who you became as an artist comes from those roots?
Shoot, a lot. So the Hawaii roots is a cultural identity, right? As you can see, I'm
Yeah.
wearing the lei, right?
Representing.
that's my jewels. I don't need to wear the, the gold chains and all. I wear this because it's more like I'm indigenous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll tell these stories to people that don't believe me. Sometimes, like I really was running barefoot.
We was just talking about that.
Like climbing up trees with my toes grabbing. You know what I mean? And people look at me like, no, I'm for real. Like I was like Mowgli from the Jungle Book or something, just running all over the place, right? But it was a freedom there. It was a way to experience the world.
Yeah.
That was a little different. But then when you go to like South Central, you can't do that.
No, ain't no.
You got needles all on the ground, and you know what I mean? Like it's a little
Came up
different.
in a rough time during that era. You know?
Yeah. Shout out my pops. Making some decisions. For us not to grow up in. Man, I mean, we experienced a lot, but man, it could have been way, way worse. But I think he had some intellect about that, especially being in the heart of all of it, But with that, it showed me a culture clash.
Exactly.
There's a big culture clash because the mannerisms, the behaviors of the people were different. You know what I mean? Like the West Coast to me is fiery. You know what I mean? I know we fiery and that's
right.
But we're naturally just free, like
yes.
And it's not a like we don't hold grudges or be upset. Like we just go. You know what I mean? Hang loose. LA's a little different, right? Because it's like, but they're still very straightforward too, right? But then there's things you got to watch out for there differently that you would have to watch out in different environments.
In what ways did you have to change your mentality growing up in such a free-flowing place into that?
Man, seeing people aren't always who they are on the surface. Seeing that just the intentions.
Yeah, that's a big
Intentions was probably the biggest thing. I would say the best thing to me about Hawaii was everything was really face value. They had a problem with you, they told you.
Right.
And then we just asked, hey, you want to resolve it here?
Because you family. So it's like, it's essentially that mentality of,
it is like
I got to tell you because you family.
Yeah. It's like, it's a village raising us. So, and a lot of people from Hawaii, they understand, or Hawaii, as we should say it, right? They understand the cultural connection of us that, we are on an island technically, right? So this is our community, but we're all related in one way or another. There's a lot of that too. And there's a lot of fearlessness there. Another thing too, I think Hawaii is great at, it fosters the kids to be contributors to society at a very young age. And then they allow you to, they like empower the youth.
Right.
I don't say that's the same when I come to the mainland, as we call it in America.
It's a disconnect through loss of culture and having to rebuild.
But not just, the rebuilding phase, but all the things that was done, you know what I mean, to America. Like people don't know back in the day, like Watts, right, in LA, was the highest concentration of Black people, like in America. You got that, you got Harlem. And it's like with that migration of people, and they were coming from all over.
Yeah.
Like, and the legendary stories of the OGs, like even Tookie, them, like, they're not originally from there. These people migrated
They
out.
migrated.
Even Rick Ross came from Texas. This dude came from, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But it was a big migration going on because you got to look historically about America and how they treated African Americans culturally and how they impacted. You know
people
what I'm saying?
moved. It was two great migrations.
Yeah.
Actually, people went northward, westward, eastward, and they just spread out.
Correct.
And so that dispersed a lot of ideas too, and people came together in those own communities. But it's old, but it's not.
Correct. That's the problem systemically. It's a systemic issue.
Yeah.
And then when you look at it, it's the Wild West. They don't just call it that just to call it that. It get wild out there. You know what I mean? It's the Wild West.
That's ingrained in even how that part of the country came to be.
But like I say, even when you talk about the dialect of the music, same thing with culture and what they are and represent also, right?
Very much so.
The Wild West, culture taught us a lot, right? Pops definitely had a hand in navigating us, through some very torrential environments, right? But then coming to Kansas City, I'll never forget too, when I first came, I was like, where's the water? Like, there's no water over,
There's some water, it don't smell great.
No water.
It don't smell great.
It's like my first time seeing a bale of hay. I was like, man, what is this? You know what I mean? It's like, and then I was like, where are the people? But then, because, LA's a big city. Honolulu's, like, these are highly populated cities you come from. So, You learn a lot, and then the dynamic of people. Then you came here, and it's like, okay, you slow down a little bit. And when you slow down a little bit, though, I started to learn, like, oh, wait a second, people really don't know, like, this is a hidden gem. And I'm telling you, from, like, this is a hidden gem. And I watch the city right now starting to become, like, a bigger city.
It's a lot.
But it's like, I don't know. Your part of me is like, you guys really want that? You know what I mean?
Well, we'll see, because you're
but
learning a lot through also working through other artists. And I want to know more about how the things that you learn about culture and you know, moving from one thing to the next, and how that affected you, how that helps you deal with other artists when you're wanting to build.
Oh, I see there's similarities in every part of the world. You know, I've done tracks with people like in Australia, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of similarities, and to me, that's what I love about hip hop, because hip hop actually could connect the whole world. I really wholeheartedly see that. I mean, look at it. Look at what it's done, right? And I think that's the power of
in 50 years.
Yeah, to touch the whole world. And they can say or try to discredit aspects of it. I think some of it is oversaturated, some aspects of it. But you look at it, man. You look at every single like medium period has got hip hop in it.
It does.
I don't care what you're doing. You do commercial, you do a Target commercial. You're gonna have hip hop in it. Hewitt Jackson got, you know what I mean, the tax people, every single thing has got hip hop implemented in it.
I saw some commercial, and it was about, I think it was about a prescription drug or something, but they used My Neck, My Back. And I realized that's not a hip hop song, but I was like,
it is. But
it is, but I mean, yeah, it is essentially, but I'm like, what? But
it's so relatable. They all know. All those people that take that medicine, they definitely done heard that song, and they gonna act like they haven't. They be like, I'm working in the library. Hey, that librarian leave, she gonna listen to some hip hop. I'm telling you,
she
somewhere.
is. It's just like,
and y'all act like it's not, but that's what it is.
Well, and I think you want to kind of gatekeep it a little, but that's just not possible.
It's not, because we're universal people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And then when you create something that's universally based, the universe, I bet you there's some aliens and UFO up there listening to Jeezy or something. Talking about, I don't know. But
you know what? I can see aliens listening to Jeezy.
I mean, it's gotta.
I can see aliens listening to Jeezy.
We're very influential people.
Very, very much so.
And that's the thing too, if you look at culturally, look at society and the world, period, the history of everything that they know, you can't deny, it's undeniable, the influence of African Americans or indigenous people. You 100%. Can't deny it.
And with that heavy influence comes other people trying to influence,
exploit it too.
And that influence, which ties into another conversation about being signed and being under a label and stuff like that. Because you've had both sides of the experience, right? So the label that where you were signed, was it indie or major?
Well, I had distribution through major. It was indie label.
So talk to me a little bit about the experiences there, because one of the things that you had not just you, but I have touched on with another guest from this season, is about when you're independent and you still want to be signed, or you want at least to try to see what that's like. Thinking to yourself, what is it that they can do for me that I can't do for myself?
That's it.
So talk to me a little bit about those things that somebody should know that they can do for themselves before they start looking for help.
So like, for yourself, just understanding the mechanics of it, right? Like people, like, what is distribution? Well, pretty much back in the day, they didn't have the internet, right? And then you had like, what was it, Sam Goody or these music stores. You as an artist, you didn't have a way to necessarily just press a button and then they distribute your music to all these stores. You could, now there was, moms and pop stores supported you. You'd walk up there and then you create your own consignment and things like that, right? But you know how much work that takes and time and energy, right? And especially, they'd be like, nah, we don't want to work with you. Because that dynamic exists. I think it's getting better, but it still exists, right?
It still does exist.
So then you're like, then you waste even more time and you feel that way. You got to go to the next, you got to keep going, right? So I pay homage to a lot of those, folks from that era because of just that alone.
That was a lot of grunt work.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work that you had to do for yourself, and you learn lessons very hard.
Yep.
because it was an all or nothing type situation.
I mean, like, think about like Motown,
very much
like
so.
what they had to go through. Like, that is legendary. You
It
know
is
what I mean?
legendary, especially their development.
Bro.
The
And
way
then,
they work on
the
developing
most
artists.
beautiful part, like, as an artist developing something, that music is still great today. That is just like, that is like, to extract that essence of that. It captures that time period, but it's still, you know, like, you can still play them songs today, and you're just gonna be. It just take you, you know what I mean, to.
There's good things and bad things, you know,
Yeah.
because people have horror stories and people also have great experiences. What were one of the great takeaways that you had from that experience?
When they say no, learning how not to accept it.
No, you're going to have to expound on that.
You know, no, you can't do this. No, you can't. No, okay. Them same people, you can circle back and they'll be like, okay. Because you start to learn why they tell you no, right? And some of it is really because it's like a business decision is why. Some of it's personality clashes. Some of it's just like, some people just really don't want to see you succeed. I hate to say it, but some are like that, right?
Yeah.
But then even those people, you can, you know, they'll come back like, and it's good to hear. I've heard them conversations from people like, you know what? Like, man, but you just, yeah, I kept going. I ain't stopped. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep going. Like a Jay-Z talks about that. What's the difference, right? He just never quit.
Yep.
That's so there's a lot of wisdom just in that alone, right? In your resiliency to it.
And it was a fight. And was it so much a fight in you wanting to preserve your vision for what it is that you wanted to do? Or do you feel like there was just some defiance and a little bit of luck?
Oh, I think it's both. I don't believe in luck so much as I believe in creating luck, right? Because it's
Okay.
I think preparation can supersede luck.
Well, preparation, opportunity.
Yeah. So
creates
like when the
that.
opportunity comes and you're ready for it, because I'll see it. You know, I do shows. Some of these guys are not prepared, and then I'll hear the comments from the people running it. They're like, dude, I'm like, it's like, I'm not doing nothing special. Then you look around, it's like, dang, I really might be doing something special, because nobody else is just doing that. And that is a problem too. It goes back to one of your first questions, right? Because would you amplify that if the person's not ready at this level?
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily amplify that, to be
Right.
honest with you. Like on a business relation, like, okay, this guy's coming on my behalf. I'm giving this referral. Then you're like,
Now everything's on you.
they not even ready. They come over there, they late, they music ain't sent in to the DJ, you know, like, bruh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it messes up the overall what you're trying to accomplish. And I think some of that is where we get some of the negative connotation, right? That is associated with hip hop.
It is. And a lot of that comes in. And it also negative connotations come with the messaging.
Yeah.
And I know you're very intentional, specific about your messaging.
Yeah.
With not being able to gatekeep hip hop and gatekeep the messaging specifically, because like you were saying, you had different experiences and came from different places, and those experiences often go into the art form because hip hop is an expressionist art form.
Correct.
Of an experience of people. So is there room for everything when it comes to messaging? Because some of the messaging isn't great.
Absolutely. Because the message might not be great, but somebody's getting that message.
Somebody's getting
No
that
matter where
message.
you at on this planet, somebody's
That's
getting
true.
one aspect of the message. That's like you telling me I can't color something, right? A different color. I can do that. You can tell me but I can still do that.
Even if I don't like it.
That's part of art, right?
Yeah.
And you look at art as a whole, and like art doesn't have limitations, and a lot of times that's the problem. You know.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
the
thing though.
problem.
Like, so with that,
Mm-hmm.
if there are limitations, is that also taken away from the creative process?
Absolutely. Because I think art is not just for the other people. It's for you too. It's for me as an artist to get better.
I mean, because like, for instance, growing up, I've never sold anything illicit.
Good job.
I have never, thank you. I have not, I'm just saying, so I know a lot of people who have, I have not. I've not, partaken in any certain things. But the minute I was listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony, my 15-year-old self was standing on the corner straight, you know how the rest of that. You know, like
Yeah.
I didn't have that, but
I should have worn my sunglasses for that. No, but okay. It's like movies, right? I can be like, you look like Storm from the X-Men, but you can still relate
yeah,
to some of the things she's going through, and you know, like to me, like the X-Men are awesome because it was like they're really just talking about racism.
yeah. I mean, the whole
It's
thing
like,
is
that's
built
what-
up. The whole thing's built up on civil rights.
But when you talk about it, right, in that format, you can still relate. So when you talk about the messaging,
Yeah.
that's art though.
It is art.
So art is for to express that, but also let people know like I know what that's like. I've been through that. So like you saying, being in different environments, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to play in the ocean. I know what it's like to be dodging some stuff. I know what it's like when the police are coming. I know what it's like when, you know what I mean? I know what it's like to work at a job. I know what it's like to, you know, just all these experiences in life, but I can talk about it.
Talk to me about some of the projects that you are working on currently.
Got my venue back opened up. That's good too.
Oh, okay,
Got a
okay.
venue, so creating the infrastructure. We talk about it. Well, here you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then creating a platform, opportunity for people to start generating their own revenue through that platform. Right.
So how far along are you on the venue?
It's good now. It's ready to go.
Okay.
Yep,
What's
this-
the name of it?
906 Club 906.
Club 906.
Mm-hmm.
All
And,
right.
and it's like the first time I've officially said it because I like to move behind the scenes too, right? I don't like to
Okay,
talk
it's
about
got
it too much.
exclusive. I'm with it.
And the reason being because some people actually, I've seen that too in my experience. Like, oh, he doing all this. We don't want to support it. I'm like, all right. You know what I mean?
I mean, the
And,
people
like,
that's going, see, this is the thing. Once you start getting momentum going on your own, you start doing those things for yourself, like we were talking about, then people start changing what they're willing to do for you.
correct.
So
This is-
you got to get that ball rolling yourself, and that's exactly what you're doing. So thus, it's performance opportunities, not just for yourself, but for other
others.
other
Everything
artists.
I try to do, right, is a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Not just for me, but for whoever else is involved, right? And a lot of that stems from my experiences of it not being a
Just
win-win
having,
scenario.
yeah, having
Like,
gates closed and having to figure
Yeah.
things out.
But you can't close the gate if I own the gate. And then if I build the gate, and I learned the skill set of how to do that. And that's what it's about to me is ownership, right? Self-initiative and self-sustainability at the
Yeah,
end of the day.
self-sustainability,
Same
for
thing
sure.
when you talk about independent versus a major label. What do
Yeah.
I need from it?
Right. If you got the venue, if you know how to connect with people, if you know how to do music yourself, what do you need? Now there might be some artists that still do figure out that maybe they're not so good at this and that, and so that's a learning opportunity for them. But being aware of what it is you can do
Yeah.
and
I
being
focus
able
on
to
that.
do that should be
I don't
the first
focus
step.
on what I can't do. And if I do, there's something I can't do. There's a lot of things I can't do, right? Yet. There's a lot of things I just don't know
And it's
how
just
to
a
do
yet.
Correct. Because then I'll look at, okay, is this something I need to learn how to do? But that still comes with me having to put the work in to understand it and educate myself and then apply myself to do these things. Because I don't think nobody in this world just born knowing how to do
No,
all of this
absolutely
stuff.
not.
So then you have to, that's where the humbleness come in.
Preparation and opportunity. Being prepared when the opportunities come up.
That's it.
And then being
and
humble.
then even if you're not prepared at that time, that's okay. You wasn't ready. All right. Learn what you had to do to get ready for the next time. Because it's going to come back around.
There's something new that we're doing for this season. We have our Wall of Fame. So I'm going to get my clothes together and close out the show.
Okay.
But while we're doing that, I'm going to have you go up to the Wall of Fame and make your mark.
Okay. What?
Once again, many thanks to King Kihei for joining me today. I told you it was going to be a great one. You're going to have to take notes. You're going to have to rewind this, watch it again, and take notes. I thank you guys for watching. You're the best part of all of this. And I'll see you again soon for another close-up. I'll be checking for you. Bye.